Andrea, when did you first realize that something was not right, that James was having ideas or stories that he wanted to share about this?
Well, initially it started off, James always had a fascination with airplanes, and that seemed just like something that a little boy would be fascinated with, like big trucks or something like that. The real problem started about 2 weeks after James's second birthday. He had a night terror, which he had never had before. And this first nightmare began a series of nightmares that started occurring every other night, every night. 4 or 5 times a week he would have these screaming nightmares where he'd be laying on his back, kicking his feet up at the ceiling, like he was in a box trying to kick his way out. And after several months of this, he was having a nightmare, and I came down the hallway, and I was able to finally determine what he was saying. And he was saying, "Airplane crash on fire, little man can't get out."
Well, and Bruce, even at 3, James was drawing pictures of an airplane crashing. In fact, I think we have one. Did you talk to him at that point? He was very young then. Did he have an idea what was going on?
Well, by the time he started drawing those pictures, he'd been talking about this for several months. That didn't start until 7 or 8 months after he really began talking about what was happening. Prior to that, in the dreams or after the dreams or before he'd go to bed or in a dreamy state mostly, he started to tell us things about what would happen, and he essentially gave us 3 items of information over about a 3-month period. One, he gave us the name of the ship, which I verified through research on the internet.
This is the ship that the airplane took off from.
That's correct, Natoma Bay. He gave us the name Natoma. I asked him one night where his ship came, or where his airplane came from, because he told us it was shot down by the Japanese, and he said it came from a boat. So in another question, I asked him the name of the boat. He said Natoma, and I did a Google search on the word Natoma and found 300 or 400 hits down a history of a World War II ship that was in the Pacific. About a month later, he gave us the name of a guy he said he flew with when we asked him if there was anyone else in his dreams.
So I want to be clear on this, Bruce. He gave you the name of somebody he had flown with.
That's right, Jack Larson.
I kept asking him if he remembered what his name had been in his last life or in his dreams, and he said his name was James, but that is his name. So I finally gave up on that line of questioning. I finally asked him, "Do you remember anybody else that you flew with or any friends?" And he said, Jack Larson.
James, you're 11 now. You're a little older. Been dealing with this for a while. What do you make of it now? Do you still have these dreams? Can you connect this to anything, or are they starting to lessen for you?
It has diminished.
So you're not remembering it as clearly as you were when you were younger?
No.
And Jeff, it wasn't like he had cognitive memory. It wasn't like you could just sit and I could say, "Jeff, tell me about when you were in last season of Survivor." These memories weren't active in his mind. It was usually a trigger or something that would happen, or he would see or smell or hear something, and then he would just come out with this little piece of information, and that was it. Then it was pretty much gone forever. There was probably only 3 to 5 instances where we were able to sit down and question him and ask him questions. The rest of the time when we tried to do that, if he didn't initiate that conversation, he didn't seem to know what we were talking about. It was a very interesting phenomenon.